Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday. Means we're brought to you by Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, fired up here with us, working towards the weekend. Luke Johnson in 15 minutes. He's been at Saints training camp the last 2 days. They just got finished talking to Tyler Shuck after his second day of practice. So we'll talk to Luke Johnson in 15 minutes. Looking very much forward to that. Got an ESPN story, swing games for every top 25 college football team in 2025. What does that mean for LSU? Dallin Holker has stepped away from the Saints. I want to talk about that and the Saints tight end group as a whole. Also, want to talk about Tony Petitti's petition for the new college football playoff and where I stand on that suggestion we heard from the microphone in Las Vegas yesterday. So we'll get to all that over the course of the next 2 hours. So lock us in. We'll start the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, I'm going through every position group on LSU's football team as we get ready for fall camp, which is approaching rapidly. It'll be here a week from today. And I talked about tight ends on LouisianaSports.net today. Now, the reasonable suggestion in general terms, when you lose the most productive player in the history of the school at any position in any sport, you would suggest, okay, probably going to take a big step back there. Like if you've got the greatest pitcher in the history of LSU baseball, like that's going to be tough to replace. You got the greatest three-point shooter in the history of LSU basketball, that's going to be tough to replace. You go to gymnastics and you've got the greatest vaulter in the history of the school, like that's going to be tough to replace. And Mason Taylor is the most productive tight end in the history of LSU football. You're well aware of that now. He holds the record for most career receptions. That's 129, and most career yards receiving. That's 1,308 in LSU football history among tight ends. And so you got to replace him, and that feels like a monumental task. But I talked about this in the spring, and I still believe it as we sit here in the late summer as fall approaches. I think LSU is going to replace that quite adequately. When you look at what you got from the tight end position last year, that was Mason Taylor with a little bit of Kamorian Pimpton and a little bit of Trey'Dez Green. That trio, which was obviously dominated by Taylor, who played the vast majority of the snaps. But that trio came up with a combined total of 726 yards and 4 touchdowns. I would suggest, as I sit here today, that Trey'Dez Green, Bauer Sharp, and Donovan Green will equal 726 yards and 4 touchdowns. Do you realize, and this is a little bit more of chance instead of consistent production, but last year, Mason Taylor had 2 touchdown catches. Trey'Dez Green had 2 touchdown catches in the bowl game when Mason Taylor opted out. Mason Taylor, I am not by any stretch of the imagination sullying his career at LSU. It was brilliant. He stepped on the field as a true freshman, was ready to play, made the biggest catch of the season in overtime, beat Alabama. He rolled up records. He was awesome for 3 years. He was a model teammate, model classmate, goes in the second round of the NFL draft. Like, that is a remarkably good career. And I'm not trying to dampen that in any way. But I am going to point out that Mason Taylor is 6'5", 250. He runs a 4.65 40. He did it pro day. That would have been second among tight ends in the combine. But he's not like what you would call some sort of matchup nightmare. He's not someone you just can't replace. Like, to go back to the analogy I just used with the most productive such and such in school history, it's hard to replace Paul Skeen's 101-mile-an-hour fastball. Like, the next guy's just not going to have that. You look at some of the traits of some of the elite players, like, you're not going to replace Jaden Daniels' 1,000 yards of rushing just with the next guy. Like, that's really hard to do when there's a skill set that someone has that's just not very easy to find. Guys that are 6'5", 245, 250, and run a 4.6, like, You can find one of those on every SEC team. Now, Mason runs great routes. He has phenomenal hands. I don't remember many drops at all from Mason Taylor. He blocked well and found spaces in defenses, worked the intermediate part of the field very well. He did all the things that you want a tight end to do. But he doesn't have any skill that Bauer Sharp athletically doesn't have. Trey'Dez Green is significantly more gifted physically than Mason Taylor is. And so while I would argue that Bauer Sharp has not been nearly as productive as Mason Taylor, and that's an easy argument to make in Oklahoma's terrible passing game, and Trey'Dez Green does not have the ability yet as a run blocker like Mason Taylor did, even though Mason Taylor was an elite run blocker, he was certainly better than Trey'Dez Green. He's a more complete player, a more polished player than the two that LSU will feature this year. I wouldn't suggest that LSU's guys this year cannot do anything that Mason Taylor did over the last 3 years. Trey'Dez Green gives LSU a weapon in the passing game that I don't think there is a single defensive player that is a great matchup for Trey'Dez Green. There is not, I can say this without looking it up and with confidence. LSU's not going to face a secondary player this year that's 6'7", 245 pounds, and can jump well enough to play SEC basketball. That guy doesn't exist. Not on Alabama's team, not on Ohio State's team if LSU gets to them, not on Clemson's team. Like, that guy, so just by the nature of his stature and athleticism, he's a matchup problem for everyone. And I think that shined through when he got his chance to play and they didn't have an option of going to Mason Taylor. I mean, you look at the snap counts last year between Mason Taylor and Trey'Dez Green, like, it was 862 to 191. Like, it's 4-1. Mason Taylor's, and that's fine. Like, that, it should have been. Mason Taylor's a great player. But, like, Trey'Dez Green played 191 snaps last year. Chris Hilton played 144. Like, those were comparable numbers. Chris Hilton was hurt the whole year. Mason Taylor just dominated the snap count. When Trey'Dez Green got his chance to play in the bowl game, because they didn't have Mason Taylor, he opted out. 6 catches, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns against Dave Aranda's defense. Like, I'm not telling you he's going to catch 15 scores this year, but I am telling you that Garrett Nussmeier is very comfortable throwing the ball to the tight end. We know that. He did it all last year to Mason Taylor. And he's got a weapon at tight end that he knows is there. And all due respect to the safeties and linebackers in the SEC, like, good luck with this dude. I think Trey'Dez Green is going to be more impactful in terms of, like, big plays, like big third downs and big touchdowns, than he's going to be a 1,300-yard receiver. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that they've got what they know is a rare weapon, and they're going to use it. And I think Bauer Sharp at 6'5", 245, who's a really good athlete, is also going to have a nice year. This is Brian Kelly's offense. This is a guy that put tight end after tight end after tight end at Notre Dame into the NFL. Michael Mayer, Cole Kmet. I mean, these are the type of guys that he continued to churn out. Tyler Eifert in the early years. And that position, it's not a coincidence that he showed up and Mason Taylor just exploded into the record books. And they're still going to use this. So there are some question marks on this team. There are some guys LSU has to replace. I talked the last 2 days in this segment about how tough it's going to be to replace the tackles and the guards. And I said in those segments, like, it's probably going to be a step back. Like, how big the step back is will tell the tale. If the tackle is just a touch of a step back in pass pro, you're fine. If you fall off a cliff, you're in big trouble. The guards are probably not going to be quite as accomplished as Garrett Dellinger and Miles Frazier. But if it's a small step back, you're okay. At tight end, I don't think there is a step back. Like, I don't. I think LSU at tight end is really good. And I think it's a healthy position group because Trey'Dez Green has another year after this. Bauer Sharp will move on. But Donovan Green, who you brought in from Texas A&M, who was their newcomer of the year 3 years ago and missed a year with an ACL injury and then didn't play very much last year. Like, he's big and physical, 6'4", 250. He can get in there in goal line sets and in short yardage sets and block for you a little bit. And then you bring in J.D. LaFleur, who coincidentally, it's a great coincidence, time's a funny thing. Mason Taylor was a second-round pick as a tight end. That's the highest that any tight end at LSU's gone since J.D. LaFleur's dad in 1997. So it's J.D. LaFleur comes in 6'7", 255, and he comes up with a football pedigree, a dad that played in the NFL, was a first-round pick. Like, he'll know what he's doing, and he'll be ready to go. So next year, I'm already looking at a tight end group that, yes, you'll have lost Bauer Sharp, but you'll have Trey'Dez Green, you'll have Donovan Green, you'll have J.D. LaFleur. That's healthy. And Brian Kelly's going to have a healthy tight end room as long as he's here at LSU. So, again, conventional wisdom would suggest, like, hey, you lost the best in the history of the school in terms of production. Probably a big step back. Like Will Campbell, you lose him. I don't think so at tight end. I think LSU's tight ends quite easily go over 800 yards, quite easily go over 4 touchdowns. You've got a really good quarterback. You've got big-time talent, and you've got a matchup problem at tight end that I think defensive coordinators are going to have to look at every single week and pay attention to. Because if you just stick a linebacker on him, that's a nightmare. You just kind of have a safety, keep an eye on him. That's a nightmare. Baylor found that out. He's big, he's strong, he can jump, and he's got really good hands. And all you got to do is turn on that play from Tuscaloosa on the hardwood where he blocked a shot, ran it down, ran out a one-man fast break, and threw down a dunk. Like, there just aren't a lot of tight ends in the SEC or in college football, period, that can make that play on an SEC basketball floor against one of the best teams in the country in Alabama. Like, he's a freak, and he needs to be used as such. Last year, you didn't have to rush him to the field. You could put some weight on him, try to help him out in the blocking game, but you had a guy that was perfectly content playing 95% of the snaps. And Mason Taylor just about did. But LSU, we saw in spring, they're going to put 2 tight ends out there. Sharp and Green are going to play at the same time. They're going to be physical. They're going to throw the ball to them. I think that the tight ends are going to be a huge part of this offense, even in Mason Taylor's absence. So I'm very bullish on LSU's tight end group as a whole this season in their production, even though you've lost one of the best to do it in the purple and gold. That's the start of today's show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We got lots and lots to do today. The Saints were on the practice field for training camp day 2 today. Luke Johnson's been there for both days. They heard from Tyler Shuck today. We'll talk to Luke when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. I was at Airline and PQ today at Genesis of Baton Rouge. How about this? When you have your car delivered and it's there at the dealership and you're there to pick it up, but you got to test out all the features and have someone show you how everything works. Well, Genesis is happy to do that, but it's July. And sitting in a dealership lot when it's 1,000 degrees is not all that comfortable. Well, Genesis took care of that. Climate control. They pull it into a room that's right there off the showroom. It's climate controlled, so you can sit in the comfort of the air conditioning and go through all the bells and whistles of your brand new Genesis. It's things like that separate Genesis as an experience when you're shopping for a vehicle. I got behind the wheel today of a GV80. Let me tell you, it's awesome. Midsize SUV. It's the fuller of the 2 GV80s. You got the GV80 Coupe as well, which is a little bit more sporty. If you're looking for an SUV, get on by Genesis of Baton Rouge and check it out. You'll be incredibly impressed with the ambiance of the dealership. It feels like a spa. It feels like a 5-star resort as opposed to a car dealership. The people are wonderful, and the line of vehicles is fantastic. They take care of you with details like that climate control showroom where they can show you your brand new vehicle. Get on by Genesis of Baton Rouge. See them airline at PQ. Visit them online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. Jacob Beck, esteemed producer here at the Hunt Palmer Show, just informed me that we need to talk about the Brewers with Luke Johnson. In fact, it's my show. My name's on it. We will not talk about the Brewers at all. There's a Brewers moratorium, and anybody that breaks that is in massive trouble. Luke, how are you?
Go Brewers, man.
Oh,
they're killing it. They're killing it.
Go away. Go away. Bad players, never heard of any of them. Win every game. Dodgers swept them at home. Dodgers swept them on the road. This is unacceptable.
Yeah. We got our big dumb idiot college coach who's somehow working as a manager, and I love him. I love him like the weird uncle who you don't want to. Your dad doesn't want you to hang out with because he's going to slip you a couple beers. Yeah.
I stole your coach. I stole your coach. Your coach is mine. I should be beating you.
Well. Good luck with him. He's dead to me, and I've come to realize that he sucks the entire time. Hope you're happy with him.
Well, he's doing a good job. I'm just put out with the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's talk about football because it's technically football season, I guess, at the end of July. Saints have had 2 days of training camp. I can't bury the lead in any way here. Talk quarterbacks with me. What have you seen through 2 days?
Yeah, a lot of up and down, which is what you expect. You know, none of them has looked really super sharp. I think if I were to put a power rankings on it, I'd say Rattler has looked the best through 2 days, but he's made his mistakes too. He had a interception today on a ball he was trying to throw away, just kind of floated it up, and Quincy Riley picked him off. So I expect them to look a lot better as training camp progresses. I don't know what that actually means. I don't know if that means they're going to be successful NFL quarterbacks this year, but I think that they're kind of working on some rust right now.
I know yesterday Rattler got the majority, all the first team reps actually, and Kellen Moore said that was kind of a seniority deal. Did that flip today?
Yep. Tyler Shuck worked with the ones today. Rattler worked with the twos, and Hayner was rocking with the threes. And we saw very, very little of Hunter Deckers, which is probably going to be the case for him throughout most of training camp. He's going to get maybe 1 or 2 reps a day. So I would expect we'll see some Jake Hayner with the ones tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of a 3-day stretch before they take Saturday off. So I'm curious if Jake gets all of the 1 reps tomorrow because he's worked primarily with the 3s so far.
Here's a difficult question to know, but I want your thoughts. How much of what the Saints are doing with the quarterbacks right now is finding out who the best quarterback is, and how much are they looking at trying to get a quarterback for this team and make sure this team is as good as it can be?
Yeah, that's like the $1 million question, right? Like, is it about like finding out who the future guy is, if they have the future guy in it, or is it about going out and trying to win in week 1? I think those are potentially 2 different things. They might be the same thing, but potentially 2 different things. I think there's definitely a chance that like let's say Spencer Rattler wins the training camp competition, but there's like this seed of a plan in the back of their mind that at some point it's going to be Tyler Shuck. Like that might be the case, but like it might also be that one of these guys just seizes it as this thing progresses and is the guy who is both somebody who thinks it gives them the best chance in week 1 with this team and potentially to be their future quarterback. I think it's just way too early to say at this point.
Give me a feel for how Kellen Moore and I'm blanking on Garrett's dad's name, Doug Nussmeier.
Doug. Yeah.
Doug Nussmeier. How are they? What are their in terms of how hands-on they are with the actual quarterbacks during practice? What's the relationship like there?
I think pretty hands-on. The same thing goes for Scott Tolzien, their quarterbacks coach. And, I think there's a reason for that. I mean, all 3 of those guys are former NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the reasons that made them comfortable with not going into this season with a veteran. Like, I don't think they need somebody who's going to show them the ropes to how to do it because, Kellen Moore was a player like 8 years ago, so I think those guys are kind of taking a very hands-on approach and are like kind of in these guys' ears, and you can hear it just in the way they are answering questions. We had a chance to talk to the quarterbacks after practice today, and Tyler Shucks is talking about how he's processing the play and he's hearing Scott Tolzien's voice in his head, with this little mantra that he keeps repeating, and it led to Shuck having making a throwaway instead of trying to force something. So, I think that's a big part of what they're doing here with these young quarterbacks, is leaning on the experience of the coaching staff. And you got to throw Scott Linehan in there too. I mean, he's kind of in an advisory role here, but he's playing an important one, and he's not somebody who played the game professionally at quarterback, but he's got a ton of experience, a high level experience. And I think they're playing a huge role in those guys' development.
Talking with Luke Johnson, NOLA.com, covering the Saints, been out there for a couple of days at practice. What do you think the relationship between Shuck and Rattler is like right now?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to pin down. Like, I think they're saying the right stuff about it, but at the end of the day, they're competing for the same job. It's like they're like about the same age. They have a lot of similar stuff in their background. They're both from the Phoenix area. They kind of grew up in the same circles. But they are still, kind of at each other's throats in a way. It's friendly, but I don't think they're like hanging out and going playing golf after practice. Maybe they are. But I think there's a competitive edge to the room, which is, in my opinion, healthy. They just don't. They don't strike me as guys who are like buddy, and I don't know if anybody in that quarterback room is really wired that way.
And that's okay. They're out there competing for literally their careers at this point and trying to be a starting quarterback. So you figure there's certainly competition there. As long as it stays, as you meant, amicable, then everything's on the up and up. I think at this point,
and I do want to clarify that. Like, I don't think it's I don't think it's going to be like toxic at any stage. I don't think it's like that. But I just don't think that they're like, it's like going to each other's houses afterwards to play Call of Duty or whatever. I just think they're in a competition. They're friendly enough, and I don't think it's ever going to be like one guy loses it and he's a problem for the locker room. If that makes sense. Yeah,
sure. I think at this stage of camp, they're not even in full pads at this point. They're not doing much of anything in terms of contact. So injuries or would be the main story of non-contact stuff. Does it seem like a pretty healthy team at this point?
Yep. I mean, 2 days in, full practice attendance. The only two guys we're, kind of keeping an eye on, obviously, are Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill. Both of them started camp on the PUP list, but, so far so good. Obviously, knock on all the wood you want to if you're a Saints fan. It's been probably their biggest issue the last couple of years, and a team with a lot of issues.
Olave and Shaheed running nicely. Are they the first two wide receivers out there?
Yeah. I mean, those guys are awesome, man. I really, really hope they stay healthy because they're so much fun to watch. And it's funny, like, because they're doing a competition, like they're trying to get all of these quarterbacks reps with Olave and Shaheed. So it's really funny watching like those guys go up against like the third string, like fringe NFL guys, and to see the quarterbacks like immediately go like, "Where's Olave? You gotta get him the ball." Like Tyler Shuck's best throw of the day, like went to Shaheed for a touchdown. And he's just like back foot, and he's like, "Oh well, Shaheed's got like 4 steps on the guy. I'm just gonna fling it out there for him." They're really, really fun players, really good players. And I hope we get a chance to see what they look like together for a full season, because they were, Olave kind of started a little bit slow last year by his standards, but like when they are right, they're really special, really dynamic, and put a lot of stress on defenses. So I hope we get to see it.
And then after them, you've got Cooks, and then like what? What are we looking at out there right now?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hope that Bub Means takes a step. It's like Cedric Wilson's done some nice stuff in Kellen Moore's offenses in the past, but that was years ago. I don't think I would feel really comfortable going into a season relying on Cedric Wilson to be the guy. Mason Tipton, I think he's got uphill battle making the team. I mean, it's just nobody's really separated themselves to this point. I think Bub is the guy I've got the most confidence in, like developing into a legitimate receiving option as like a 3 or 4 wide receiver. But yeah, let's just be honest. I mean, like if you're basing it off of what they have done before, what they've done recently, like you would really want them to get another receiver to help that room before the start of the regular season. Maybe one of these guys takes off. Like that's a legitimate possibility. It happens all the time. But yeah, just based off of what we know now, I just say it just doesn't look very deep behind those guys.
Last guy I want to mention on the offensive side, running back Kendre Miller. How's he look, and where is he in the depth chart right now?
Yeah, he's on the field, which is good, right? Like it was like we're like 5 minutes into the first training camp practice last year when he blew out his hamstring and missed like 5 weeks. So I think we just gotta see if he can stay on the field, and then that's first and foremost. And the second part of it is I think he's going to have some competition to make the roster. Like they went out and added Cam Akers, who I think has looked fine. You got Clyde here, who's got a lot of NFL experience, does a lot of things other than running the football, which helps his case. And you got a rookie running back in Devin Neal, and they were kicking the tires on Nick Chubb before he signed with the Houston Texans. So I don't think it's a guarantee he makes the team. He's got to show something in addition to staying on the field. So it's a little bit too early to stay with him. I think it's going to be a lot more evident once pads come on. But if he's right, if he's in the right headspace, if he's healthy, I think he could be a really explosive back. But he's got a lot to prove in that regard.
People are frothing for camp coverage. Tell them where they can find all your stuff, video, print, everything.
Yeah. You can find all of our written stuff over at NOLA.com. I've got a story coming up this afternoon about how the quarterbacks are kind of handling this competition mentally. And you can just look up all of our video, our podcast stuff you can find anywhere. You get your podcasts, all the videos on YouTube at Saints Insider.
We appreciate the help, and stay cool out there. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good, buddy.
Luke Johnson with NOLA.com and The Advocate. Saints out there on the practice field. Fans are locked in. It's football time down there in New Orleans. We got 1 week until LSU puts the helmets on, gets out there on the Ponderosa, fired up for all of that. You can find all of our Saints coverage at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcasts, and, of course, on YouTube as well. And Hunt on LSU when that stuff cranks up here coming up in a week. All right, speaking of LSU, swing games for every top 25 college football team. What does ESPN think LSU's biggest swing game is, and what do I think the biggest swing game is? We'll talk about that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is that website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. It doesn't have to be a huge renovation. Like, David's actually working on a huge renovation right now. Talked to him yesterday, trying to find time to nail down and get some breakfast, but he's busy, and that's a good thing. You don't have to do a 2-3 week long renovation, remodel. You can do something simple like a tub to shower conversion. It can be done rather quickly, cost effectively. It changes the entire way your bathroom looks and functions. If you need a freshener in the bathroom, you live in maybe an older home or got something that doesn't function properly, get a new glass walk-in shower. David Duvall can do it at One Bath and Closets. Get a free consultation. Start with the consultation at onebathandclosets.com. You can also look at pictures of their fantastic work right there on the website. It's One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business is...
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
If you're looking for somewhere to be on Saturday night, Baton Rouge Rougarou having Skip Bertman night out at Pete Goolsbee Field. You can purchase a copy of Glenn Gilbo's book, Everything Matters in Baseball, and Coach Bertman will be there to sign it. You can take photos behind the third base dugout as well. They'll honor Coach Bertman alongside some other LSU baseball legends at 7 o'clock, and then game time is at 7. Skip's grandson, Ezra Pate, will pitch for the Rougarou on Saturday night. So if you'd like to have a chance to go out, get a book, get a picture with Coach Bertman, and get an autographed copy of the book, you can be there at Pete Goolsbee Field at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms. Let's talk a little bit about swing games in college football. ESPN.com put a feature up on their college football page. Took all the top 25 teams and talked about the biggest game on their schedule. And I don't think this is going to be a monster surprise to any of you, but the swing game that they identified was at Clemson, August the 30th. The blurb reads, LSU's 0-3 in season openers under Brian Kelly. If there was a year to change that and set the table for the season, this is it. Cade Klubnik, expected by many to be among the best quarterbacks in college football this season, with Clemson primed for another run into the CFP. LSU looks just about as talented and ready to make a national championship push as any team in the country, but the Tigers need to look closer to their final form from the jump than they have in recent years. And I think that's completely fair assessment. I'm not here to disagree with that in any way. The game against Clemson, I think, is massive, especially if you win it. If LSU wins this game on the road, that's a leg up on just about everybody, and it creates a little bit of wiggle room moving forward. Now, if you lose, I still think if you finish 9-1 down the stretch, 10-1 down the stretch, I should say, that you're fine. But that's really hard to do, obviously. If I were to try to get off the season opener, that's very difficult to do because we all know how big a deal it is, and we'll talk about it until we're blue in the face for the next 35 days or however long it is. And we'll be primed for that game when it happens. And every LSU fan is going to lock in, and every LSU fan is going to be white-knuckling that thing until the very end and to see if LSU, in fact, loses 6 straight openers. I get the whole thing. But also, I want to look at the rest of the schedule and see if I can't identify maybe another game that, to me, is a quote-unquote swing game. And as I roll through, I really look at one that feels massive. And it's probably not one that everyone else is looking at. It's week 3 when Florida comes to Tiger Stadium. Because conceivably, your season could just about come crashing down at that point. Because if you've lost at Clemson, hypothetically, and you beat Louisiana Tech in week 2, and you come back and lose a home league game to Florida, like, the energy level in this place is going to be zero. Now, if you beat Clemson and lose at home to Florida, that'll be a gut punch, obviously. But let's just say, for grins, that LSU loses to Clemson. They've lost that game. Okay, you come back and beat Tech. We've run this song and dance 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row. Be number 6. And then Florida comes in. If you win that game against Florida, then you go play Southeastern Louisiana. You've won 3 games in a row, and you're saddling up to go play at Ole Miss, right? And that's the same type of situation you put yourself in last year when Ole Miss came to Tiger Stadium, and it felt like a monster game. And LSU won. And at the time that LSU beat Ole Miss, even though they had lost to USC a month earlier, you still felt at that point like, okay, they can still do something here. They found a passing game. They found a pass rush. That's the identity. They'll figure out how to run the ball a little bit better behind that offensive line. Like, they can get this thing rolling. They're going to beat Arkansas. You felt like that things were okay because you righted the ship early in the season and you went and beat Ole Miss. And then you can set yourself up to do that again, even with the loss to Clemson. A loss to Florida, man, at home to that program that's been down for a few years, like, that just feels like it would be a gut punch in either scenario. So, like, in a situation where you're trying to go at a minimum 10-2, you can point to any game on the schedule and suggest, man, that could be a swing game. Like, I could say the same thing for at Ole Miss. I could say the same thing for South Carolina coming to Tiger Stadium. I'm not going to put that on Vanderbilt, but I could say it about Texas A&M. I could say it about going to Tuscaloosa. I'm not going to say about Arkansas coming to Tiger Stadium, but at Oklahoma, last week in Atlanta, people were drinking the Oklahoma Kool-Aid. Like, they were. People were going, well, Venables, that defense was top 30 last year, and they got Mateer coming in, and they got a new offensive coordinator. Like, they're going to – and I'm not quite there yet. I don't know about that offense in Norman after losing everybody from a terrible offense. So that's the last game of the season. That's going to have high stakes regardless. But I'm pointing to that Florida game because if y'all heard me talk last week about Florida, like, I think they're going to be decent. I think they're going to have a pretty good team. And when I turn on the highlight tape of DJ Lagway from last year, it's impressive. The highlight tape is significantly more impressive than the stat page. So it'll be at home. It's going to be hot. It's going to be a 6:30 p.m. kick. Tiger Stadium will be into it. But, like, I'm envisioning a potential 1-2. I'm envisioning a potential 3-0. And in either sense, I'm looking at that Florida game going, that's big. Because, I mean, if LSU comes out of the first 3 weeks and you can't lose to Southeastern, so at that point it'll be September 27th and you'll be 4-0. LSU at that point will be a top 5 team in the country, maybe a top 3 team in the country, and this town will be ready to burst at the seams. If it's 1-2 and then you beat Southeastern, you get Ole Miss, like, this town's going to be ready to riot. Like, that's the swing of emotions that I think can come in September alone. I mean, how many times did we sit here and think about an LSU trip to Gainesville like in late October? How many times have we sat here and just fixated on the weekend after Halloween with LSU and Alabama? That's when the emotions generally kicked into gear. And now that has been flipped on its head the last 5 years because LSU's played with such a high-profile opener and has lost. So I'm not disagreeing with ESPN here, but I just keep coming back and back and back to that Florida game, and it just feels like it's that spot on the schedule between two in-state teams that can't beat you, and before the SEC really ramps up, like, it's a huge spot. And I think I can make a pretty compelling case that that's as big a swing game as there is on LSU's schedule. Looking at some of the other teams in the top 25 that ESPN is considering, we'll start with number 2 in the country. That's Clemson, and they say LSU. They read, this one's fairly obvious. Clemson opens the season at home against LSU, a huge game that will serve to show whether all the hype surrounding Clemson is warranted. Clemson's lost 3 of its past 4 season openers. That's an underserved storyline that Clemson's losing these games too, including 2 to another SEC school in Georgia. That is, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs. Winning is hugely important, but so is the way Clemson looks right out of the gate with an experienced team that returns its best playmakers on offense and some of its best defenders from a year ago. Here's why that eye test matters to perception. In those 3 season-opening losses to Georgia and Duke, Clemson managed to score a combined 13 points and 1 total touchdown. That simply cannot happen with Cade Klubnik entering year 3 as a starter. So look, we all know that LSU has stumbled out of the blocks here. Clemson has too, and losing to Georgia is no sin. Losing to Duke is not great. So these two teams understand how massive the opening game is. Clemson's got a more manageable slate beyond that because the ACC is just more manageable, but a season opening loss is going to do damage to either one of these two teams. So that's a look at ESPN's top swing games here for everybody in the top 25. We'll come back and close out hour number 1 when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, We've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Some of the best beef, quite literally, in the United States is just outside of Baton Rouge, and it can be in your freezer pretty quickly if you call my guy Sean Sagrera. I'm going to give you Sean's cell phone number at the end of this read. If you're interested in some of the finest prime Angus beef in the country, you got to call him, because everything that Sean's got on his farm at Sagrera Farms is prime. If you talk about intramuscular fat scores, you're talking 0 to 3 is select, 3 to 8 is choice, and you got prime that starts at 9. Sean's got cows on his farm right now that have been ultrasounded, and you're talking 13, 14, 16 on that score. If you love prime Angus beef and you don't want to ask questions about where your beef came from, you go pick it up where you always get it. I mean, how many DNAs are in that package you just picked up, and where did it come from, and are they using antibiotics improperly and steroids? You never have to ask those questions with Sean. You're getting prime Angus beef with its ground beef, talking about ribeyes, fillets, strips, skirt steaks, hanger steaks, all that you can have in your freezer from Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms. We're doing burgers on Friday night. Tomorrow night, it'll be Sagrera Farms Angus prime beef, and it's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. Call Sean, 719-1723. It's in the 225 area code, 719-1723. Say, hey, I heard about you on Hunt Show, and I'd like to get some beef. He'll help you out up there at Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. Chandler Rome from The Athletic, former LSU beat reporter on the baseball beat, Reveille alum, LSU alum, in fact, covers the Astros. And he reported last night that Ethan Fry has signed a deal with the Houston Astros that's going to pay him nearly $1 million. Fry is getting $997,500. That is more than $195,000 over the slot value for Fry's slot at pick number 95, third-round pick. And this is such a great story for Ethan because he comes to LSU from Rose Pine, Louisiana, which is the size of this desk, okay? And he's a high school catcher that comes in the class with Brady Neal and Jared Jones. You still got Milazzo on the roster, still got Travinsky on the roster. And he comes in and you're going to sit. And he did. He didn't play very much as a freshman on a national championship team. He got to watch and see those guys and watch how a championship team goes about its business every day, but not a lot of playing time. And I went out there in the fall and watched him, and it was apparent early that he wasn't going to be a catcher. So they played him in right field. Wasn't awesome. Played him at first base. Didn't look very good, but he's a good hitter. And Jay Johnson said that when he was a freshman at LSU. Jay Johnson said, and this kid could be an All-American here. Like, Jay believed in him big time, just his second year on the job, and Ethan's first year at LSU. And then he comes back as a sophomore, and he's got a chance to play a big role on that team. You've lost Cruz, and you've lost Morgan and Jordan Thompson. You've lost Milazzo, and you've lost your Beloso and like some of the Dugas, like some of the real thump from that team. And they're looking for some guys to step up outside of Tommy White and then Bear Jones sliding in. And, okay, well, maybe Fry's one of those dudes. And he tears his labrum. And they give him the option. They're like, okay, well, you can either get this fixed and miss the rest of the year, or you can try to play through it. Like, you're going to be hurting, but, you can go, you're not going to hurt it worse. Just go, you can go play if you want. And instead of getting it fixed to serve his interest best, he gutted it out. And it didn't go well. Like, he did not have a good year, obviously. He hit .228 and didn't hit a home run. 34 games. And then he got his shoulder fixed, and he came back in the fall, and he's on a little bit of pitch count, but he was feeling better. And then all of a sudden, he's in the lineup in a platoon spot because you've got Larson and you've got Pearson, you got Brown, and then Fry's kind of in there. And all of a sudden, he just hit so much that Jay Johnson said, whatever, he's the DH. We'll platoon Brown and Pearson the rest of the way, and Larson's just going to have to sit. And what you end up getting is a guy with some of the biggest swings of the entire season. For the year, he hit .331 with 13 home runs. He drove in 50. But, like, the swing he made in that regional final on Monday, I will not forget. Because you forget about the Little Rock fiasco and you forget about what the final score was on Monday in that game, and they got through the regional, and then they swept the Super, scored a billion runs, and went up to Omaha and never lost. But if you could put yourself back in that moment in time after Little Rock puts a 5 spot up and LSU's down 5-1 in the early innings, like, I don't know about y'all. Maybe you had more confidence than me. I'm in the press box petrified because they haven't hit for 2 days, and Little Rock's seeing the ball like a beach ball, and they can't get Cano out, and it was just a nightmare. And finally, Fry delivers the 3-run double. And even though that 3-run double to right center field only drew LSU within 5-1, didn't even tie the game. At that point, it was in the early innings, and I exhaled and go, okay, they're going to beat Little Rock here. They're going to do enough to beat Little Rock. But it took that swing. There were 2 outs when he made that swing. If he pops up, you go to the 4th to the 5th, down 5-1, like, you're in trouble. Like, you're in trouble. And he makes the swing. He also led LSU in runs in the College World Series with 6 of them up in Omaha, had a big RBI double to left field that just it hit so hard. I was up in the press box, and the guy 2 seats down from me was with some national publication. I don't even know who he was with. He was between Alondra was between him and me, and he hit the ball, and it went over the coastal left fielder. Was kind of coming over and just whistled over his head. I said, what was the exit velocity on that? It was like 112 miles an hour, something ridiculous. And so Fry was just great this year. He deserves the $1 million he's going to get. I think there are a lot of LSU fans, myself included, that would have loved to have Ethan back in the lineup next year, but it just wasn't reasonable. He wasn't going to come back, burn that leverage to play left field, which is not a spot that you need to prove yourself in. You would just cost yourself a ton of money. You saw some seniors this year sign for, like Cade Woods was drafted in the 10th round. He signed for $5,000 in the 10th round. Like, you can't make any money doing that. So Ethan will get a really nice payday, and he'll go off and start his minor league career with the Houston Astros. I wanted to take this segment to just kind of acknowledge how awesome Ethan Fry did this past season, what his career path looked like, and then the paycheck at the end of it. Ethan Fry will move on to professional baseball, a 2-time national champ with a monster junior season in his back pocket. So all the best to Ethan as he starts his professional career. I wanted to close the hour with a huge shout-out to the city of Baton Rouge, and most importantly, the Baton Rouge Children's Advocacy Center was there at LeBear's last night for their annual fundraiser. It was incredible, raised a ton of money. Ton of folks there. I know our crew was very well represented. Alondra was a celebrity raider Brian Haldane from Talk 107.3 was the celebrity later. I was there as well. It's just an unbelievable cause that I'm so lucky and fortunate to be a small part of every year. Baton Rouge Children's Advocacy Center does its part in helping young people who are witnesses to violent crimes at a young age. It's just such an unbelievable, vulnerable part of our population, such unfortunate circumstances. And the Children's Advocacy Center, I've walked the halls there, I've spoken with their counselors and the folks there that help the kids through that process. And they are just wonderful people, and they have such an unbelievable calling to do that. So it's an honor and a privilege to be there every year. And shout out to the city of Baton Rouge that came out last night to LaBerge and made it such an unbelievable event and raised a ton of money for a wonderful cause. So I wanted to mention that before we move forward. Hour one is in the books here. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Talked about LSU's tight end group, spoke with Luke Johnson on Saints camp. He was there. If you missed some of that, you can catch it at Hunt on Saints. In hour two, we're going to talk about Tony Petitti's ridiculous proposal for the college football playoff and then a Saints retirement outside of Tyrann Mathieu. We'll get to that after we pause for national headlines and Sports Center. Come back for the second hour on a Thursday. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers, We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
I'm Doug Brown. Dolphins corner Artie Burns will miss the upcoming season with a torn ACL. Burns also missed the 2020 season with the Bears with a torn ACL. Even without the friction between quarterback Tua Tagovailoa and wideout Tyreek Hill, ESPN's Damian Woody has doubts about this team.
The Miami Dolphins situation bears watching. Mike McDaniel, he has to I think he's in trouble this year. I don't think they're a very good team. I got serious questions about the quarterback. I got serious questions about how they built their roster. I got serious questions about their locker room.
Damian Woody on Unsportsmanlike. USC freshman guard Elijah Arenas will be out 6 to 8 months with a knee injury that needs surgery. He's the son of former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas. 45-year-old Venus Williams plays a second-round match tonight at the D.C. Open. She's the second oldest woman to win a singles match on tour after beating Peyton Stearns in the first round. Australian Ben O'Connor wins stage 18 of the Tour de France. Tadej Pogacar still holds the yellow jersey as the leader.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Friday. I said that the Pittsburgh Steelers will finish last in their division. So what does that mean for Mike Tomlin's future? The answer might just surprise you. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour number 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, officially working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Next segment, we're going to listen to what Tony Petitti had to say about the college football playoff and my thoughts on his proposal up there at Big Ten Media Days. But let's start with the New Orleans Saints. There were 2 retirements out of Saints camp right before the first day. The one we've paid all the attention to is the biggest local story and certainly a starting player on the Saints. This is Tyrann Mathieu, of course. Spent a lot of time talking about the Honey Badger, his time at LSU, his NFL career, his time with the Saints, and now that he's hung up the cleats, what's next for him? And that's obviously a huge storyline. But there was another one that was under the radar and probably not very impactful, but one that I was a little surprised based on my expectation when this individual joined the Saints. That retirement was Dallin Holker's. The Saints cut Dallin Holker right before camp started, and he said, all right, I'm done. And I thought when the Saints targeted Dallin Holker as an undrafted free agent that this was going to be a hit. Because they really spent on him. They spent 6 figures on him and brought him in. And you're looking at this guy from a size perspective. Had exactly what you're looking for, 6'5", 230 pounds. He's a really good athlete, and he had a very, very productive college career. He was a freshman at BYU in 2018, played in all 13 games, caught 19 balls for 235 yards and a touchdown as a freshman. Then he had the 3-year break for his mission. Comes back to BYU in 2021 and didn't have a monster year the next year, 14 catches, 200 yards. And then he got hurt his junior year and missed some time, so he transferred to Colorado State. But at Colorado State, he had a massive year. He was a Mackey Award finalist in 12 games, 64 catches for 767 yards. To put that in perspective from a local angle, like Mason Taylor's best year at LSU, the highest performing tight end in the history of LSU, his best year was 546 yards. At Colorado State, in his senior year, Dallin Holker had 767 yards. You're talking about 220 more yards. For a career, Mason Taylor had 13.08, biggest number in LSU history, 13.08. Holker had 12.88. You're talking about a difference of 20 yards. And yes, Holker did have 4 years, but he missed all but 3 games of his sophomore year with injury. So massively productive, good size, good athlete, and at a position where the Saints have not been uber talented. Like, Foster Moreau's a proven vet, proven pro, but is he a massively productive receiving tight end? No. We've talked about Juwan Johnson a good bit on this show, and my thoughts on him as a player. He's limited kind of in what he can be, and I just felt like Holker, even though he was an older player, would be able to come in at age 24 as a rookie and make the team and make an impact. And he just didn't. He played in 12 games last year, started 2 of them, and he had 4 targets, 3 catches for 21 yards, and a first down. And that was really it. And, like, I'm not here suggesting that the hit rate on undrafted free agents is huge. And the fact that he was an undrafted free agent that did make the team and did start 2 games is better than most undrafted free agents who just get cut over the course of August and wash out of the league. He didn't do that. He made the team for a year and then was cut and washed out of the league. But that would have been such a really nice piece to add for cheap. What do we keep talking about? Younger, cheaper. Dallin Holker's 25 years old. I realize that you just paid Juwan Johnson a 3-year deal, but Morrow's on the last year of his deal, and you might have been able to use him as an impact piece at tight end. And then maybe if he's a guy that you trust, you don't draft a tight end in the late rounds of this past year's draft. Instead, maybe you draft a wide receiver. I mean, those dots are a little bit tougher to connect because you never know exactly what a Saints war room is thinking, especially late in the draft. But I could connect those because I'm looking at the Saints receiving core right now, and I'm going, you're a big body short. And not that you're guaranteed to lock up a big body receiver that's going to be a productive player for you in the 6th round. No, you're not. But this is the gray area we're talking about with building the Saints roster. We're talking about late round picks. We're talking about undrafted free agents because right now the Saints are in scramble mode to try to accumulate as much productive young talent as they possibly can. And I thought this guy was going to be a hit. And it turns out he hasn't been. So you look at tight end for the Saints and you're stuck with kind of the guys that I was mentioning in that line. Like Foster's on the PUP list. He's not out there right now. And you've got Juwan Johnson, and he's going to be your starter. And Taysom Hill's kind of up in the air with whatever he's going to be. It looks like he's going to come back and try to play. We thought potentially at the end of last year that might have been the end of Taysom Hill's career. Talking about a significant injury late in his career, his physical playing style. Like Taysom Hill only has one speed. It's go fast and run into people. That's really all Taysom has in his toolbox. And how long can you do that with your body kind of breaking down potentially the way his is? And I thought Holker would be a guy that made sense. And it turns out that's not going to be the case. So his career, 1 year, 12 games, 2 starts, 4 targets, 3 catches, 21 yards, a first down, no touchdowns. That's the end of the line for Dallin Holker. So bummer that that one didn't work out as it looked like it had a lot of promise. But Saints will bring folks in. They're early on in camp right now, and they'll try to do everything they can to fill out that pass-catching crew that's still just missing desperately somebody with some size and athleticism. And Holker's not the biggest guy at 6'3", but at 240 pounds, and as well as he caught the ball in his college career at both BYU and Colorado State, it just felt like that had a chance to hit, but it turns out it does not. So we'll continue to monitor things on a pass-catching perspective from the Saints. We talked to Luke Johnson about it in the first hour. He talked about, kind of the guys they've got after Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks. Like, what is it? Bub Means kind of feels like the next guy. He's going to have to really step up and do a lot more than he did last year this time, and then when the season rolled around and the injury started to pile up, if he wants to be a difference maker on this New Orleans Saints team in 2025. So plenty going on here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got these delicious ribeyes in this graphic right behind me. I have to stare at them for 2 hours and just think about how awesome they are. I can go back to 2 weeks ago when I cooked the Sagrera Farms ribeye on my grill. It was phenomenal. If you want a great tasting, flavorful, tender, juicy steak, Sean Sagrera and Sagrera Farms are your one-stop shop. Every single animal on the farm is a 3-year journey. You're talking about genetic process that Sean believes in and is perfected. You're talking about consistent results. It's a 3-year journey, grass-fed, finished on grain, dry aged, 45 days. That sounds like something you're interested in. Call Sean Segura and my friend at Segura Farms, 719-1723, 719-1723. It's Segura Farms Premium Angus Beef. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, Tony Petiti is doing math problems, and I've got to solve them, so we'll talk about that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. Was there on the lot earlier today. Airline at PQ. Get on by and see them. I asked you, get on by and see them. They've got unbelievable warranties. 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper to bumper. 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper to bumper. And of course, what I tell you about every single day, their 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. That's industry leading. So if you're looking for an incredible warranty on your awesome brand new vehicle, Genesis can help you out with that. 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper to bumper. Then you got a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty that is industry leading. Roadside assistance is included with your Genesis purchase, and it's the only fully exclusive Genesis dealer in the state of Louisiana. So if you are looking for a new vehicle, you haven't gotten behind the wheel of a Genesis, I just ask that you give them a shot. Go by and see them. You're going to feel like a guest. You're not going to feel like a customer. You're not going to be pushed and prodded and oversold. You're just going to be helped along the way. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. It's genesisofbatonrouge.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Segura Farms.
About the time of the old work week where the weekend feels like it's starting to creep in. We talked about this a good bit, but when T-Bob and Jake were trying to push the weekend vibes on Thursday morning, that's a tough order. You got 2 full days to get after it here. Start to get towards the end of the workday on Thursday. It feels like you're within striking distance of the old weekend, and we feel like that here. So let's talk a little bit about crazy football talk, because it's talking season, and my goodness, is it ever talking season. You got conference commissioners, you got coaches. We're talking crazy things all over the place, week to week, Atlanta, Vegas, wherever you are. There's talking going on. And Tony Petitti got to the microphone in Vegas and pitched his college football playoff plan. Now, prepare yourself for the numbers that are about to fly out of my mouth, because this is his plan. It's a 4 + 4 + 2 + 2 + 1 + 3. Just say that part out loud and it sounds ridiculous. 4 + 4 + 2 + 2 + 1 + 3. 16-team playoff. Looks like third grade math homework. But that's what he wants to do. And so I'm not going to go into the depth of what the first 4 is, and the second 4 is, and the first 2 is, and the second 2 is, and the 1 is, and the 1 3 is. I'm not going to go into all that. We'll just go with the 2 4s at the front. 4 + 4 is the first 2 letters, okay? Those represent the SEC and the Big Ten. He wants both to be guaranteed 4 spots automatically into the field. And I'm not here to cast aspersions on favoritism played to the Big Ten and the SEC, because I believe the Big Ten and the SEC are better than everybody else. Y'all know that. It's obvious to me. I believe that to my core. So I'm not here to completely throw cold water on that portion of it. I am here to throw cold water on the rest of it, because the rest of it is, how do we get the 4 teams from the SEC and the Big Ten every year? And Petitti's got this big cooked up plan on how to get those 4 teams. It starts with the conference championship game. If you get in to the conference championship game, we don't have divisions anymore, so the top 2 teams in the standings, if you get into the conference championship game, you win or lose are in the playoff. And I'm okay with that. You have not lost me yet. That's fine. Then you've got the 3rd place team who didn't make the conference championship game and the 6th place team playing each other for an automatic playoff bid. And then the 4th and 5th place teams will do the same. So the top 2 that get in the conference championship game, they're in. Then, beyond that, 3rd seed and 6th seed play, 4th seed and 5th seed play. You have lost me now permanently, because I don't need a 6th place college football team playing for a national championship. And that's what you're doing if you get into that portion of the play-in games to the playoff. You're now playing for your college football playoff life, and I don't need a 6th place team, even in the best 2 conferences, doing that. College football's regular season is the most consequential in sports. And you have heard me sit here and say that I was for expanding to 12, because I do think keeping 16, 17, 18 fan bases engaged in the middle of November is a good thing. I don't think limiting it to 2 in the BCS is a good thing. You lose your second game in week 3. Season's done. Can't win a championship. I don't like that. So I'm for going to 12. But when you go to 16 and then you put this caveat in there where a 6th place finisher is fighting for their national championship lives, I'm out. And here's why. Let's just look at this past season. Conferences is realigned. Texas and OU are in the SEC. Oregon, USC, UCLA, they're all in the Big Ten with Washington. Okay, we've realigned. This is what happens. These are the 6th place teams. You know who was 6th place in the Big Ten this past year? Iowa. They went 8-5. They lost to UCLA. You watched that UCLA team in Tiger Stadium. They were atrocious. Iowa lost to them. They did not play Oregon. They did not play Penn State. They did not play Indiana. They did not play Wisconsin. They played Ohio State. They lost 35-7. No shot. No chance that team, 6th place in the Big Ten, 8-5 Iowa, is getting a shot to play for a national championship. Case closed. I don't need to see them play. Now let's go to the SEC this past year. Texas and Oklahoma are in. Who is the 6th place team? Well, LSU was in a tie for 6th. They were 8-4. Do you think the 8-4 Tigers that lost to Florida, that just melted down in the second half in College Station, that got annihilated by Jalen Milroe, that couldn't go to Vegas and beat Lincoln Riley and USC, that team needs to be playing for a championship? I don't think so. Ole Miss, talented enough, good enough against Georgia. They lost to Kentucky. Kentucky went 1-7 in the SEC. They lost to Florida, who was a 4-4 league team. Those two teams combined to go 5-11 in league play, and Ole Miss lost to both of them. They lost to Kentucky at home. And then they came to Baton Rouge, and they trailed for 0 seconds and still lost the game. I'm sorry, you don't get to play. You don't get to play for it. We have to make the games mean something. You can't just beat Austin Peay, Kennesaw State, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt and go, all right, sorry we lost those 3 games, but we're in. No, you're not in. You're out. South Carolina, I don't think so. Missouri is in this tiebreaker. Their best win last year was double overtime in Columbia against Vanderbilt. That's the best win they had. You're not playing for a national championship with that. I'm sorry. So that's last year. Iowa, Missouri, 8-4 LSU, Ole Miss, who lost to Kentucky. I don't need those teams playing for a play-in. So let's go back the year before that. Who would it have been out of the Big Ten? Well, I'll tell you who the 6th place team in the Big Ten was in 2023. Now, keep in mind, did not have Washington, did not have Oregon, did not have UCLA, did not have USC. Different league. But still, 6th place team. Northwestern. They went 7-5. They lost to Rutgers 24-7. They had wins over Howard and UTEP in their 7-5. That needs to be playing for a chance to go to the championship. I know they're going to lose in the first game, but I don't even need to see it. No chance I need to see that. Well, who was the SEC team in 2023? Well, I'll tell you. It was the 8-4 Tennessee Vols with Joe Milton at quarterback. They lost 3 games to Georgia, Missouri, and Alabama by a total of 108-37. Just got dog-walked by Bama, Georgia, and Missouri. You're not playing for a championship. I'm sorry. So I understand, as I talked about earlier this week, it's the job of the coaches and the conference commissioners to stump for their interest. It's Rhett Lashley's job to tell you how awesome SMU is and that they need a chance. It's Tony Petitti's job to tell you that the Big Ten is the best and needs these certain circumstances. So I'm not mad at them for doing it. It's part of the job that comes with the big paycheck. But if we're going to get up in these press conferences that have been scheduled months and months and months in advance, and we're going to give these ridiculous talking points, we need to come up with a better plan. Like, if a coach says something dumb after they got beat on the last play of the game, I can live with it. They're emotional. They're tired. They've been up a long time. They're disappointed. And they say something at a mic that doesn't make a lot of sense. This is like the State of the Union that the president gives. Like, media days happen every July at the same time. You know when you're going to the podium. You need to have something more substantive to say than Iowa, who can't beat anybody, needs to be playing for an auto bid to the college football playoff. That I desperately need Northwestern, who beat Howard and UTEP, to go play in a game that would get them an auto bid to the playoff. Give me a break. We do not need the 4 + 4 + 2 + 2 + 1 + 3. No. That doesn't work. You want to get up and give me a positive. The Big Ten has this track record and has won back-to-back national championships with 2 different programs and this television contract and these brands and what Oregon did last year. And you want to lay some things out that merit consideration by a committee. I'm all ears for that. I'm all ears. I'm an SEC guy, but I'm all ears for that. The Big Ten and the SEC should get preferential treatment. They have more money, better coaches, better facilities, better players, better programs. They deserve that over the Big 12, who I don't even want to have a seat at the table here. But you can't come at me with this, where the 6th place team in a college football league needs to be one game away from the playoff. College football regular season has to matter. And you cannot take September and October and chuck them out the window so you can build these pay-per-view games in December. And I don't mean literally pay-per-view. I mean you're doing this for the massive audience that you will get in December. And I loved seeing Tennessee in Columbus, Ohio last year. I loved seeing Clemson in Austin, Texas last year. I even got on board a little bit with the intrastate rivalry where Indiana went to Notre Dame, and I thought that was cool, even though I didn't think Indiana deserved to be in the game. But I thought it was cool. I liked the playoff. I liked the expansion to 12. I liked the home stadiums. I'm good with the cold weather football. Like, I'm on board with so much of what we are doing. But let's not get up there and just start saying ridiculous things just because we're self-serving. This was a complete whiff by Tony Petitti. It doesn't make any sense. Everyone is up in arms about it, not in the sense that they're upset, that they're just dismissing it immediately. Every media person that I've read on this has the same deal. I wrote a column about it for LouisianaSports.net. Like, there is no approval for this. And so you realize that if you get up there and completely swing and miss with everybody, that's something that should have been fleshed out earlier, and you don't even need to be bringing that to bear. Come up with something more substantive than, hey, let's give Northwestern a swing at this thing. They're 7-5. No, that's a whiff. And so, Tony Petitti, I'm not mad at you. I understand why you did it. We just need to do a better job than that. So that's my thought on the playoff expansion bit from Big Ten Media Days in Las Vegas. Talking season is just about over, and we'll put some helmets on next Thursday, and then we'll have something to talk about from that perspective. But we still got one more week left of lists and quotes and press conferences and stuff like 4 + 4 + 2 + 2 + 1 + 3. I can't say that enough. That's how ridiculous this proposal is. We'll come back. Got 30 minutes left to go on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. It is storm season. You know that. And the next storm is always around the corner. So make sure your property policy reads properly. The Highland Insurance Group can do that. Let them audit your insurance program for free. They understand how important premium is to the buyer, but they also understand how important coverage is. And if your broker has cut some corners to include some exclusions that are going to cut premium, but ultimately leave you hanging when you need that insurance policy to respond, that's a bad spot. And the Highland Insurance Group has retained customers over the years and clients over the years because their attention to detail and making sure that your policy reads properly. And you can't wait till after the storm blows through to get that done. So contact Jonathan Carbo and his team today. Say, hey, I know it's storm season. I'd really like to take a look at things and make sure I'm in the right spot. They'll do it for you. It's free. And if they help you out, they'd love it if you become one of their clients. It's the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online at HighlandIG.com. They'll service anywhere in the state of Louisiana, based right here out of Baton Rouge. The Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Sometimes I see something during the break, just makes me chuckle. Devin Snow, Hold the Mayo, Red Beans and Rice guy, however you want to, frequent Monday visitor on Off the Bench, had maybe the tweet of the day from out at Saints camp today. Just tweeted casually, Saints just had 3 false starts and a fight on the goal line, looking good. I can't even get through the tweet without chuckling. 3 false starts and a fight in the goal line period there for the Hoodats. See if they can clean that up. We talked to some legitimate Saints football with Luke Johnson in the first hour. If you missed it and you want an update on Saints camp, including a couple of the quarterbacks and how they looked, we talked about it with Luke. You can check that out, Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your sound. This is another one of those stories. This happens every once in a while where news breaks. I certainly haven't prepped for it. Don't have a ton of background information on it. This is like when Tyron retired earlier this week, or when news breaks, you got to kind of react to it on live radio. That's the way things kind of go. And there's a report now from On3. Let's see who the report's actually from. On3 wrote this. Inside Carolina, which is an On3 affiliate, so it is On3, is reporting that the University of North Carolina is among several schools interested in seeking a potential departure from the ACC whenever the next round of collegiate realignment happens, and even could be considered at the front of that pack alongside Clemson. Sports Business Journal writes that, including a report from Inside Carolina's Adam Smith. So the nuts and bolts of this is North Carolina is strongly exploring a move from the ACC to the SEC. And this has been, outside of Notre Dame, I think, the biggest fish out there. And I know that a lot of you would look at this and go, wait a second, why is North Carolina better than Clemson? Why is North Carolina better than Florida State or Miami? Well, the reasons why you went and got Missouri, the reason why you went and got Oklahoma, the reason you got Texas A&M, it's another state. It's another market. And North Carolina's a big state. It's a big school. It's got a big alumni base. And it's contiguous with the rest of your league, which has always been important to Greg Sankey. He's talked at length about how they're not just expanding to expand and how he's not putting Rutgers in the same conference as UCLA and making the volleyball teams fly cross country 4 times a month. He prioritizes geography a little bit in what they're trying to do. And certainly you want to get big brands, and Texas is a monster brand, and Texas A&M is a big brand, and Oklahoma is a monster brand, and Missouri brings St. Louis and Kansas City, and North Carolina brings North Carolina. I mean, Charlotte's obviously the home of the SEC network, but it's SEC programming. North Carolina's an ACC state. You've got North Carolina, and you've got Duke, and you've got Wake and NC State, and it's an ACC state. You could turn it into an SEC state if you grab that team. And you're going to look at the Big Ten and the SEC, and they're going to be the ones doing this poaching. Now, the ACC has been fracturing for years, and obviously Florida State has been on the forefront of this with the lawsuit that they brought forward. I'm reading from this report now. Smith's sources reportedly named the SEC as the conference the Tar Heels are aiming to land in. The ACC's exit fee drops from $93 million to a flat $75 million threshold beginning in 2030. And Inside Carolina sources reportedly suggest that year would figure to become an important final line of demarcation if the Tar Heels haven't made their departure from the ACC sooner. So as I read that, it's not saying, well, maybe they'll do it when the fee drops to $75 million. It's reading they're going to do it for $75 million unless they do it more quickly than that. And there are a team of attorneys that are working on this for Florida State. And when you look at the ruling of the lawsuit that came down, there was a settlement in March, was filed by Clemson and Florida State, challenging the ACC's exit fee and their revenue distribution and all that. And they got it to mirror television watching, and you get bigger shares of the pie based on whether or not you draw eyeballs. And certainly Clemson and Florida State feel like they're going to do that more than Boston College is going to do that. They're going to do that more than NC State or Georgia Tech are going to do that. And they called the settlement a substantial victory to member schools for exploring possible pathways toward leaving the conference and relocating to greener financial pastures. Inside Carolina sources reportedly suggest UNC Chancellor Lee Roberts quietly got involved in behind-the-scenes negotiations and performed a key role in helping finalize the ACC's settlement with Clemson and Florida State. So the question is really not if, it's when, and it's where for North Carolina. And this report is suggesting North Carolina is headed to the Southeastern Conference. That's not going to happen this year, but it feels like within 5 years, that's the timeline that we're looking at. And I'm okay with it. This is where we're going. We're going away from the ACC. That's going to fracture. The Big 12 is trying to stay relevant. It's failing, in my opinion. And the SEC and the Big 10 are going to win this money war. Now, the question becomes, is it the SEC and the Big 10 with the Big 12 still clinging to life and trying to find the scraps for a college football playoff? Or do we just abandon this whole thing and go under one umbrella and everybody's in one big university sports league and we call it something and we crown a champion in the middle of that and we cut out the group of five? Like, I'm always candid in my talking points here. I'm not smart enough to have the solution and to know what the most likely outcome is at this point. There are too many powers that be. There is too much money involved. There are too many years. There are too many attorneys and commissioners and coaches and people serving them their best interest for me to know what is coming, like to a T. But I can know the direction things are moving generally. And the direction things are moving generally is that the ACC is going to be toast. Because just like the Pac-12, when Oregon bailed and USC bailed, you lose your blue bloods, you crumble. The Big 12, like the ACC is going to crumble. You can't have a conference in the Atlantic Coast and not have Clemson and not have Florida State and not have North Carolina. Y'all can go play basketball, Duke and NC State and Wake Forest. Y'all can go play hoops. But like Miami's going to come along for the ride, and you're not going to have powerful enough brands in that conference to command big television dollars and to keep up with the Big Ten and the SEC. You just can't. So that's going to become an insignificant league. And the question remains like whether those teams jump into the Big 12 and they become a monster conference of mediocre athletic programs, or the SEC and Big Ten look at each other and go, okay, we've got these two. We'd like to bring Miami. Georgia Tech can come. We'll take Louisville. Duke's definitely in. They got hoops. And you make a big league. And you combine Alabama and Ohio State, and you combine Georgia and Michigan, you combine Penn State and Florida and LSU and Wisconsin, and they're all not as permanent opponents. I mean, you just throw them all into a pot, and we've got this one big league. Or if everybody tries to stay afloat, and then we have to rig the playoff committee to figure out how to do this. Like, I don't know. But I can say this with some degree of confidence based on Florida State and Clemson suing the league and North Carolina allowing a leak that says we're leaving. The ACC is cooked. Like, it's cooked. Like, you can trap them in there with that exit fee for some time, but not forever. This is a divorce that is coming. The separation is there, and it's just a matter of when they bang the gavel. And again, I'm not smart enough to know where these schools come up with the $75 million, if that's hard or easy. I don't know when it has to be paid out. I don't know what attorneys can find what loopholes, and I don't know what happens to the rest of the group in the ACC. But it feels like we crossed a Rubicon 2 years ago, well, actually 4 years ago when the agreement was made, when you kind of said, hey, Texas A&M, I know that we've never taken another school from the same state we're in. We've held Clemson out with South Carolina. We've held Florida State out with Florida. We've held Louisville out for Kentucky, and we kind of told you we were going to do that with Texas, but we're not. And we crossed that Rubicon where you're now letting a current SEC state bring a big brand in from another league. When you cross that Rubicon and you realize you're in an arms race with the Big Ten, you got to look at Florida and look at South Carolina and look at Kentucky and say, look, we're sorry, but this is what we have to do. And you got to take all three of them. And look, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up with LSU and Auburn. I grew up with LSU and Alabama, LSU and Ole Miss. But, football season wasn't ruined for me last year because Oklahoma came here and Auburn didn't. It wasn't ruined for me last year because, LSU didn't play Mississippi State. I liked the fact that LSU went and played a baseball series at Austin. I think that's cool. I don't really care that LSU went and played a baseball series in Norman, but I like the fact that LSU is going to play basketball games in Austin, and I like the fact that LSU could make a biannual trip to the Dean Dome and could play at Cameron. That appeals to me. Clemson and LSU playing a football game is just as big a deal to me as LSU and Alabama playing a football game. Like, I don't hate Clemson to the degree that I hate Alabama, but it's a big brand, it's a big school, it's a great environment, great uniforms. Let's go. I'm not married and stapled to the rivalries of the past just because we played them in 96. Like, I don't want to pick up and go, just if we're talking hypotheticals, which is what we're dealing with here, like, I don't want to pick up and never play anybody in the SEC and go play in the Pac-12, so all my games are against Oregon and Cal and Stanford and UCLA. Like, I don't want to do that. But as long as you're just adding big brands and you're creating incredible environments and you're cultivating new rivalries and everything's reasonable from a geographical standpoint, like, I'm not kicking and screaming on this. Money's going to win. It's an arms race forever and ever. And there are plenty of y'all out there that hate that to your core, and that is perfectly reasonable. It's reasonable. It is. College athletics is not like it was 5 years ago or 25 years ago. My stance and the way I think about it, as long as LSU comes out of some tunnel or some dugout wearing purple and gold, I'm in. And if it's in the Dean Dome instead of at Auburn Arena, I'm in. And if Oklahoma's coming to Tiger Stadium instead of Auburn, I'm in. I'm okay. This to me is not some sort of massive negative because I'm playing North Carolina instead of Arkansas. I can get on board with it. And it sounds like the SEC is probably on board with this. It is more money. It is more revenue. And you've got to keep up with the Big Ten. Revenue sharing is now part of this deal. And you cannot allow the Big Ten to go get all these teams and create all this new revenue so they can pay their wide receiver 2x what you can because you're trying to preserve the LSU-Auburn rivalry. That doesn't work. You cannot fall behind dollars and cents in television revenue because now that television revenue is not just paying coaches, not just buying locker rooms. It's buying linebackers. It's buying Friday starters. It's buying point guards. You need the revenue in your school. So you've got to take the opportunity to increase that revenue. And if you bring the state of North Carolina into your television negotiations, that's a lot of people. You got to do it. So I'm good with this. This is, and y'all know my stance on a change. How does it affect LSU? This is a positive for LSU. It's more money. So we'll see when it happens. If you just jump in your car and say, what the heck is he talking about? There's a report from the 1-3 site at North Carolina. The sources are indicating that North Carolina is exploring a move from the ACC to the SEC. And based on, I'm paraphrasing now, you're looking at within the next 6 years. We'll see. Got one more segment to go. It's a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
They're making some promises at Sagrera Farms. No steroids ever. never improper antibiotic use. You're always going to know where your beef came from. It's going to be prime. You're not going to have to put a deposit down. And it's right here, just outside of Baton Rouge in Ethel. Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Burger night at the Palmer House tomorrow. I'm fired up. We're using some Sagrera Farms beef that Sean dropped off a couple of weeks ago. It is phenomenal. Put the ribeye on the grill a couple of weeks ago. Excited to get some burgers on the grill tomorrow. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows. Contact my guy Sean. Call him 719-1723. 719-1723. Get some of that prime Angus beef in your freezer today. Beck, I'm trying not to get scammed on the internet.
You've done it before.
I have been scammed before. It's true. But there's these awesome Cubs highball glasses that just showed up in my Instagram feed. $15. Says fly the W. It's got 2016 world champions, Wrigley in the background.
Hunt, let me ask you a question.
I need it.
Where did you get scammed?
Instagram.
Okay, and where did you say you saw these?
Instagram.
All right, so do you see a correlation here?
Oh, there's two different styles, too. One's got, like, in color. One's got it, like,
do you even hear yourself right now?
I think I gotta check and see it when the show's over. I gotta go back to my desk and see if it's a real company.
Okay.
And maybe it is. It looks like a cool glass.
Maybe it is, Hunt. Maybe it is. Maybe
it targeted me.
Yep.
We'll have to see. To be continued. Maybe we'll catch up on the show tomorrow. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer built for Louisiana summer weekends. If you're at the lake, at the pool, on the grill, tailgating, just need something light, refreshing, but has that great beer taste. Get one from the oldest brewery in America, family-owned and operated, Yingling. It's 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, very tasty. I'm going to have a few this weekend. You can as well. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one here. ESPN just released their latest MLB power rankings.
Oh, God, don't even.
Number
don't
one,
even, no.
The Milwaukee Brewers.
No, that's absurd. They don't have any good players.
Number two, the Chicago Cubs.
We're number two?
Yes.
Sick.
The Brewers are better than the Cubs. Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Just leave it alone.
Hate the Brewers. Do they play today? Cubs don't play. They're off against the
Let's
Sox.
see. The
I think
Brewers,
they were in Seattle. They got
Yeah,
be
nobody's
off.
playing really today. Only like 6 games.
Well, maybe one of the Brewers will get a hangnail, be out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm so. Do you know that we played the Brewers in Wrigley in August in a 5-game series? It was a 4-game series, and now there's a doubleheader on the front end. It's 5 games. I'm going to lose my brain that week.
That's probably that could end up being the deciding series.
Can't handle it.
That would not be great.
I can't handle it.
All right, next one here. Air Bud is apparently returning with a new movie. It's called Air Bud Returns in summer 2026. Air Bud coming back. Take it or leave it.
Leave it. I didn't see the first
Leave it alone.
Really?
Is the first one good?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's a kid's movie.
He hits it with his nose, knocks it in or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss that. That's gonna be a no. As far as dog-themed sports movies go, I'm gonna go Sandlot, and I'm not gonna go.
But Hunt, you say you're gonna miss it, but do you think Myers is gonna miss it?
He hates dogs.
Really?
'Cause we don't have one.
Okay.
So if he's, I don't like that puppy dog. I don't like that puppy dog.
Yeah.
And they're loud. They bark. It's not his thing.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
All right, how about this? Another legend passing away. Hulk Hogan.
Saw that.
Died today at the age of 71. You remember watching Hulk Hogan? Take it or leave it.
Leave it. I never did.
Leave it alone.
I've never seen a wrestling thing.
Never as a kid
Is
ever.
he WCW or NWO or
never?
I've never seen one.
Wow.
He was like old when I was.
You were too
like,
busy
a kid,
watching
though.
the Cubs.
I was. Sosa was hitting homers. I can't be watching Hulk Hogan do. What's his move? What does he do? Choke slam or something?
I actually don't know what his signature move is.
No, never.
Cassie, are you?
Do you ever watch him?
I used to. Yeah, I did a little bit
I
whenever
used to
was
watch
younger.
him like every Monday with my dad.
Yeah,
Monday Night Nitro, Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw was the big one. Yeah.
He always told everybody, "Now let me tell you something, brother."
Yes, that was pretty good.
Exactly like that.
Just like
Cassie.
that. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's it.
Perfect. By the way, while your mic's open, yes or no on the Scotch glass for me?
I don't know. I feel like you've been scammed too many times.
Only once, but I have been
one
scammed
is too
once.
many.
That's too many.
We
One
thought
is
the
too
second
many.
one might be a scam, but the stuff did show up.
Instagram's sketchy.
It is a little.
It is.
It's a great looking glass. There's 2 versions.
That's how I get you, Hunt.
I've only got one Cubs highball glass. I need more.
We'll get one from the official merchandiser of the Chicago Cubs so you know it's real.
Well, this one's only $15.
Yes, for a reason. That's how they get you.
I'm gonna do some research.
God,
Get back to my desk.
all right.
I got some things to check out. We'll catch up on tomorrow's show. That's it for today. We had a lot to get into today. We had a couple breaking news stories, talk Saints training camp, LSU tight ends, some baseball with Ethan Fry. We were all over the board today. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt is still out in sunny Mexico, so Musa is going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, to wrap up the week with a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.